I give the call to the member for Fowler.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise today with a heavy heart to honour the 15 innocent lives lost in the horrific and senseless act of violence at Bondi on Sunday, 14 December. What should have been an ordinary summer's day by the sea and a joyful celebration marking the first day of Chanukah was shattered by an act of terror that has left families grieving, communities shaken, and our nation in mourning. Today we grieve with the families, friends and loved ones of the victims. Their pain is unimaginable and their loss will be felt for a lifetime. On behalf of my community in Fowler, I wish to place on record the many messages of sorrow, sympathy and heartfelt condolences that have been shared with the families of those who lost their lives. People from all faiths and backgrounds reach out with compassion, united in their horror at what occurred and in their shared humanity. We also stand with the Jewish community of Australia. This was a targeted act of anti-Semitic terror, and it must be named as such. Anti-Semitism has no place in this country, none. Jewish Australians deserve to live in safety, dignity and peace, just as every Australian does. Deputy Speaker, yet even in such darkness, the candle of hope still flickers, carried by the courage of ordinary people who chose humanity over fear. We remember Boris and Sophia Gorman, who stood together in an extraordinary act of bravery, attempting to disarm one of the gunmen so that others might live. Their selflessness cost them their lives, but their courage will not be forgotten. We thanked Ahmed al-Ahmed, a Syrian-born father of two. Despite being shot multiple times, he disarmed one of the attackers. Ahmed, who had already devoted his life to protecting others through service in the police force in his home country of Syria, once again stood up to protect strangers. His actions reflect the very best of Australia. That day, ordinary Australians did extraordinary things. They did not ask who was Jewish, who was Muslim, who was Christian, or where anyone came from. They acted because someone needed help. I also wish to acknowledge the Bondi Surf lifesavers and the emergency responders who were on duty that day and who assisted and supported the community in the immediate aftermath, providing care, reassurance and calm in an extraordinarily distressing situation. That is the Australia we know, grounded in fairness, decency and care for one another. And it is an Australia we must hold on to, now more than ever. Deputy Speaker, I came to this country as a refugee in 1979. I have now lived in Australia for 47 years, and in all that time, I have not encountered such terror on our shores, except for the Port Arthur massacre and the Lynn Cafe siege. These moments marked us as a nation, not only for the violence inflicted, but for how we respond in its aftermath. We must be careful not to allow grief to harden into division or fear to be redirected from one community onto another. Anti-Semitism must never be met with Islamophobia. Violence against Jews must never become vilification of Muslims. Hatred cannot be cured by more hatred. I represent Fowler, one of the most culturally and religiously diverse electorates in Australia. My community is made up of people who fled war, authoritarianism and oppression. They understand deeply what happens when hatred is allowed to grow unchecked. They came here because Australia promised something different: safety, freedom and respect for one another. Deputy Speaker, at moments like this, Australians look to leadership for reassurance, not rhetoric. They want to know that our laws protect everyone equally, that no community is scapegoated, and that our shared values remain intact. Let us honour the victims of Bondi, not by deepening divisions, but by choosing unity over fear, compassion over blame, and humanity over hate. That is the Australia the families of the victims deserve. That is the Australia my constituents believe in. And that is the Australia we must continue to protect. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.